I mean, we'll get into this more when because Jason Florent should be here. I'm not sure if Henneke's going to be here today.
I don't think Henneke's coming, but Jason said he'd come for sure.
So I'm sure we'll get into this more, but like I felt like our team ended up with a very good handle on the format.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
I think we absolutely nailed it.
Felt pretty good all the way through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Some other things about Worlds really sucked.
Yeah.
Let's focus on the positive.
Let's focus on the positives. We put two people. Well, we put like 5 of 7 into the 64 for Worlds. That alone is like
crazy,
insane.
Two making it to the top 16.
Mm-hmm.
There was only 6 spots for like the whole of America's boys. 6 spots.
Yeah, and we put 2 in top 16. Yeah, absolutely insane. So good showing from the boys. I gotta hold on, Jordan. Your thing's doing weird stuff. I gotta press some buttons.
Doing weird stuff.
It's not you. It's OBS Ninja. Sometimes I have to click buttons to like reset people's cameras. It's really dumb. But yeah, I mean, obviously Worlds for us was, I guess, altogether quite a success. There were some
most of us
shitty things. Yeah.
I mean, on the numbers, it's fucking hilarious because out of the people who actually got to play in Worlds, we did really well.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, Pushby didn't drop a game.
Pushby 100% win rate. Technically,
you didn't lose either.
I didn't lose a single game.
I was feeling rough because like the whole things happened with you right in the beginning, right when the bracket, and I was like, this is not getting fixed. You know, once they start the tournament, you like.
Oh, I knew. I knew,
right?
Once it started, as myself, I TO'd plenty of tournament. Like, you don't stop something, even if it like an hour later they find out like, oh, we fucked up or things like that. It's too late. I totally understood. Like that was not the problem once like everything happened.
Yeah, and then Pushby got DQ'd. To be fair, he made a mistake. Right.
Yeah, this one's super arguable. Like,
it's tough. It's really tough.
It's for sure too harsh, in my opinion.
It's definitely too harsh. But we have to give a break to the man that actually ran the tournament because he was not Riot affiliated at all. It was just some dude who worked for Battlefy doing his best.
Everything wrong is not pinned on like a single individual. It's a whole like chain of miscommunication that happened throughout like a whole week, and like in the end, the guy that actually ended up being the actual TO for sure did his best. So
yeah, that was
I'm also not gonna lie, Pushby kind of made 2 mistakes. Like the first mistake and the reason that he got DQ'd was that he was switching around his deck list a lot because everything got messed up and people's deck lists got leaked, so he wanted to play the mind game stuff, right?
He baited himself with the mind games.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that was a little bit like I tried to tell people this is a bad idea, don't do this, and nobody listened to me.
I did.
That's fair.
We were sitting there, we were like, okay, reminder, it's 10 minutes to go. If you change your deck list, fix it, right? Yeah, and so he did.
But
oh, go ahead.
Here's the thing: the second mistake, and this is a full-on no good deed goes unpunished moment. And I don't know if anybody knows the full story of this. Pushby went and told the admin that he had fucked up. He realized that he had messed something up, and his opponents weren't realizing it, including me. And he goes, wait, hold on a sec. I'm going to go to the admin and let them know what happened so that we can fix things. So it was like, there's a problem later in the tournament. I'm like, cool, just wait for our round. They'll fix it. And then the admin's like, no, fuck you, get out.
Yeah, he's
like that was
cool.
a little
Thanks
rough.
for letting me know. DQ'd.
Super rough. Like you said, no good deed goes unpunished, right? So like reporting himself, well, I'm almost positive he could have gone the whole tournament without nobody.
Yeah, it was probably like a card or two, right?
Yeah.
Yep. 100%.
Yeah, which is crazy because like you say, oh, I fucked it up. Like, let's report it myself. I don't want to come off as shady. And it's like, you out of here. And not even like giving the win to his round one. Like that was the weirdest thing to me. Like,
also, you can just submit the correct deck list in the next match.
Yeah, it isn't that hard to fix.
It's super easy to fix unless you're like Battlefy or something.
Yeah.
It was rough.
If he played match 1, right? He played match 1 with the incorrect deck list, not the deck list that he put for the tournament. In match 2, he could just select the right deck list.
Yeah, he could have swapped.
You just swap, and no one would have been the wiser. Not because like I would probably also want to tell the TO.
Yeah, I think what it is was morally correct. But...
Yeah, like I'm very big on like being incredibly open with these kind of things for like tournaments. I think Magic has like just slammed that into me because if ever anything happens that you're not sure about, you just go judge, right? And you just like...
Yeah, but the thing is, I trust Magic judges, and I don't trust
That's true.
Runeterra TO.
Yeah, I mean, well, Runeterra, he wasn't even a Runeterra TO, just some guy, you know, and he did his best.
Yeah. You don't trust faceless people on a Discord?
Mm-hmm.
How could you?
Very strange.
Yeah, so that really, really sucked, especially because he walked away with the round 1 W.
Oh yeah, like crush the guy, get out.
Yeah,
that was pretty rough.
But yeah, now we got top 16 coming in 2 weeks. Also, if you guys haven't seen, Jason made a post on Reddit about the current state of organized play for Runeterra. I highly recommend you guys give it a read. It's really good. You can find it on his Twitter. I don't have it, but if any of you have it, can you drop it in? Can you drop it in the chat for me? I think it's a pretty good read because there's a lot of things we were not very happy about Worlds, and we're still not very happy about. Like it wasn't broadcasted, and that really sucked.
There were a whole bunch.
Thanks, Kevin. Yeah, whole bunch of things.
Jordan doesn't. Okay, I trust you specifically. I didn't know. I'm gonna shut up.
But we do have top 16 to look forward to, and I think Riot was incredibly hands off with the qualifier rounds, and that was like a really big mistake. But I expect them to try to make top 16 a pretty big deal. It seems like that's what they're building towards.
Which was crazy to me that it is a 250k tournament, and this weekend did not feel like it whatsoever.
No.
And I think they're putting all the eggs in the top 16 basket, but it costs them like all the other 256 player. It was just a mess. Mm-hmm. And like I guess I got the shortest end of the stick. Like I'll go out and say it, and it just like feels super weird that it is Riot with a great history of esport things, but because of that we put them on such a high pedestal while it is still their first actual like super major like world tournament. So we expect mistake, but we also expect great things because they've done the best esports in the world arguably in League of Legends. So it was such a duality of things that I'm still shook about it a little bit. I still don't know exactly what to think. I'm still waiting on answers of exactly what happened. So yeah, not a great start, but this weekend will be pretty high.
Next weekend, next weekend. It just felt like, I mean, even playing in the event, like I'm sure you guys can, or Jordan can attest to this, it felt like they didn't care. It felt like it didn't matter. Like obviously it mattered to me, but like we had to have people in the community cast these tournaments because there was no official cast. Like, you know, shout out to them. J Doza and Boulevard did the cast.
They did an amazing job.
That was fantastic. Like they did all of them, and that was insane. Like huge shout outs to them. They had to like scrounge for streamers to watch because if they didn't have a streamer to spectate, they didn't have a match to watch. And like I don't know, it just it felt like Kato pointed out, it felt like a small grassroots tournament. Like seasonals felt more important. It's not.
Which is like, sure, the money is in the top 16, but
but like this is really important.
For 256 players, we were still playing for 250k, and
I think it's 200 by the way. Not that it like really matters.
200k, whatever. It's 250k Canadian, I guess. If you convert. But I am used to so much shit going wrong in tournaments, but I am also used to the more higher stakes the tournament goes, the more tightly it's run, the more they make sure they don't fuck up too much. Like a fuck up at the local Magic tournament versus a fuck up at the PTQ versus a fuck up at the GP and versus a fuck up at the Pro Tour. This is all very different. And the higher you go, the more money it's involved and the more tightly controlled it usually is. And so that's why it felt even weirder, because that was supposed to be the most premium tournament LOR ever had. And seasonal were run in a more serious manner than this.
In client, official broadcast. Yeah.
And I think a lot of the reason for that is, I mean, first of all, Magic's been around for like literally a billion more years, right? We're still working on this. We're still working on this. But one of the big things is that because Runeterra is an online game, there's no room, at least yet, for the kind of judge culture to exist, right? We don't, because the game polices itself by default, we don't have the people whose job it is to police the game, so we also don't have that same culture in making the tournaments. So when things start to go wrong, we kind of don't have the high-level people there to fix it yet. And I think one of the biggest lessons to learn from this isn't necessarily look at exactly what went wrong. And this is something that I talk about in relation to ladder a lot, right? Stop looking at exactly what's wrong with the current meta and take a step back here. Because a lot of the time, the things we're looking for were missing. And I think in this case, what we're missing is just one person at the top of all of this who is the person in charge of Runeterra esports and is setting up the thing and can just make the calls. There's an old saying that the only animal with more than 2 legs and no brain is a committee, and I feel like we kind of saw that in action.
Yeah, it's someone to be in charge. Like, I think we have a head of esport. I'm not sure who it is.
We don't. There's like a team of people that kind of work on it. There's no head of organized play. I think
there's a head of Riot esports.
Yes.
If there is a head of organized play for Runeterra, then they need to be way more public, right? That job description should be interacting, communicating with the community, creating and, understanding your own rule set, and then making sure your TOs know what's up. Like, if there is someone whose job that is, do better. If there's not, we need to get somebody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
After this weekend, I'm like, fuck it. I wanted to apply to this job, but I also want to compete.
Yep. Yeah. So, I mean, I think that's pretty much most of our points there. If anybody has anything else they want to say about that, we can hash it out real quick. But I would like to get into the more like play side of Worlds, like why we ended up on the stuff we ended up on, how we got there, what we expected, that kind of stuff.
Sure. You want to start off?
Yeah. So I'm gonna go through like a bit of a timeline, or at least try to help me out here if I miss things.
Yeah,
but
gotcha.
So set released, right? And day one, Scion was it.
Oh.
Right? Scion was Big Daddy. We knew that there was going to be some sort of very good Poppy deck, and I think a lot of people suspected there was going to be a very good Nami deck. I put out a video on Zoe Nami, I think day one, and I was like, this is it. This is the thing, if people can find a build. But I was off it because I couldn't find the build, right?
That was before the Double Trouble version.
Yeah, the Double Trouble version wasn't there yet. So I was like, I'd really like to be on this, but, I would expect, like, Fizz, Nami, P, and Z to be easier. We can combine that with, like, Lee or something, and that's kind of where I was, like, leaning. I really liked Lee because Scion was such a big deal. But then Tree decks popped up. This was after Scion. Tree decks and Zoe Nami found the right build. And Tree decks were teching very heavily for Scion on ladder because that's just what there was. It was Scion, Tree, and like Zoe Nami, and then like bad Darkness decks and stuff.
I'm not gonna lie, I still don't understand what Tree is doing or how this deck keeps doing so well. It confuses me.
I also don't get it.
And also at the same time, like while we're starting to build lineup, it was still before Sivir nerf. So
yes.
we were still like, okay,
we're just gonna play Sivir Demacia.
Yeah, we're playing Sivir and 2 decks.
Mm-hmm.
Is what we like.
Yep.
Depending if you want to ban Scion or no, because Sivir is a bad matchup into Scion. So that was the main thing we were figuring out. Was like what we do with Sivir and Scion, like ban, no ban. Like,
yeah, and then it's Tree like real, right? Like what's the best kind of Poppy deck? And then everything changed when the Fire Nation attacked, and Sivir got nerfed. I think you made that exact reference in your write-up, Jordan. So yeah, I think I made that same joke in a YouTube video a couple days ago too. So yeah, Sivir got nerfed just across the board essentially. The Sivir decks, not actually Sivir, and this changed everything. Because we all had our lineup, and every single one of us had like Sivir Demacia in the lineup, or we were banning it, or we were
even me. Like I was at the point where I was going to play Sivir Demacia because I finally realized how stupid that deck was.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And then the nerfs happened, and it was a gigantic scramble. It was like, it was all of a sudden where we were like assigning people things to do for the day, right? Because like we couldn't cover it all.
We're like push P, you deal with tree, you tell
Yeah.
us if it's real. Like Henneke, you got the mid-range stuff.
I'll take the new Zoe Nami deck. Yeah, Henneke's got the mid-range stuff. Is Draven Ezreal good? Is Draven Caitlyn good? Like, can they keep?
I think most of the Poppy stuff was where I was at.
And then
I got really into Poppy.
We
from
spent a
day one.
lot of time on Poppy. So then yeah, Tree kind of exploded right at the same time, right? Tree became really, really big, and then I felt like the next move was everybody was trying to beat Tree. Like it was trying to find the Poppy deck that beats the other Poppy decks. Was kind of what was going on. So we saw a very big resurgence of the Rally Poppy lists, both the Ionia one and the Bandle City one, a few days before, because Tree was popular, and I think the Rally Poppy decks just do Tree faster, right? They're just not actual Tree, but they just like they do the same thing, but they do it a little bigger and a little faster. And Scion started its techs, and then so. I was starting to think around that time that Scion wasn't really going to show up. This was like 2 days before Worlds.
Yeah, and at that point, we also knew firmly that Zoe Nami was
the shit. It was unbeatably the best thing.
Yeah, almost didn't touch on it, but like once the Double Trouble version was found, like very quickly we adopted a philosophy of okay, we just ban this deck, or we just like we bring it ourselves because it's just broken,
And
we
both.
just ban it, or both.
We're like just banning it anyway, pretty much, right? And then we're bringing it too. Like it was TFIz. It's insane. It's so good. And that I feel like was the final nail in the coffin for Scion that weekend. Was Tree decks were teching pretty heavily into it, and then Scion started to lose some of the closer like the matchups it was winning. It stopped winning as hard. Like it wasn't beating the Poppy decks as well as it was before. Zoe Nami's pretty insane.
Unless you're Jordan.
Yeah, unless you're Jordan. And Jordan's Scion list was and still is very good. The Aloof Travelers and the Whirling Deaths were sick tech, and I think still are. I haven't played a lot of Scion, but recently. But like I think that was like the absolute correct read for Worlds, and you got super paid off on it. But
speaking of Scion techs though, big shout out to my man Kever on this one, because day of this brother convinced me to put one of Scorched Earth into my Science deck, and that saved my ass.
Yeah,
you convinced me to bring Scion into my lineup, and I think, and I can't confirm, but I think I would have done pretty well with the lineup.
Yeah,
I think you would as well. Yeah,
we can talk about the individual lineup after.
So yeah, I'm gonna split into. This is where I'm gonna take like because I think like a day before, 2 days before is when we all kind of branched out a bit, right? Like just a little bit. We all were pretty much on the same ish lineups, and then like 2 days before, we're like, okay, this is really good, but I kind of want to be on this. I kind of want to be on this. The only thing we were like super agreed on is that PNZ Noxus was really, really good, and Zoe Nami had to be in your lineup. That was basically.
We always had Jason on the side with Zoe Vi too.
That's true. That's true.
Oh god, I wanted that to be good, and we kicked it around so much, trying to make it be good. We backseated Jay Sensational,
and it is good. It's not bad,
okay.
But you can't drop Zoe Nami.
Zoe Nami
for Zoe Vi. It's just a bad pick, unfortunately, which sucks because I really wanted to play Zoe Vi. But around this time, I felt very uncomfortable on Tree. And Poppy decks in general. I really struggle on board-centric decks. Like, really struggle. I tend to do very well on decks that are very spell-heavy and kind of circumvent combat in a way. Even, like, Draven Ezreal isn't really a combat-focused deck. Like, your guys don't really get blocked. And if you do, they're just trading anyway. So it's like, I don't really have to worry about it. So, like, Poppy Rally, I played Poppy Rally all versions and Tree a lot. And I just couldn't quite figure it out. And I saw Rigby actually running a lot of Demacia Sivir still, with Screeching Dragons instead of Ruin Runners and some Absolvers. And so I started picking that up and just kept, like, winning. And I was like, oh, well, this deck's really good. Like, really good. It just loses very hard to Scion. Just can't beat Scion. And then I tried to kick around some other stuff, like, all right, well, I still want to beat Scion. What else is good? So we tried, like, J4 Shen, and that didn't quite do it.
Oh, God.
We tried that for, like, a few hours.
That was a short 3 hours.
Yeah, yeah, that was out of there pretty quick. So yeah, Sivir Demacia, and I was like, this is pretty sick. And the deck I wanted to play so badly this whole time was actually Draven Caitlyn, instead of Scion. I love the Tri-Beam decks, I always have, and Henneke was pretty high in the deck. Go ahead.
The only thing that kept us
Silent.
playing, and Henneke, like, it was 2 days before, he's like, I think this deck's insane, but I'm not playing it. And when Henneke says that, you're like,
oh, can't be. And, yeah, you know, we all like
he's the guy.
specialize in our stuff. So like when Henneke, the Draven man, says I can't play Draven at this tournament, you listen.
Yeah.
Right? You just go,
if I'm
okay.
not playing Target, you don't play Target.
It's not good.
If Henneke's on Bez, you don't play it.
Exactly.
I was not on Lee Sin. You're not playing.
You're not playing Lee Sin. Yeah, we got 2 of those guys. But yeah, so, but it got to the point where I was winning so much with Sivir Akshan, and I just stopped seeing Sion, like at all. It was just gone, and I was like, I do not think people are gonna bring Sion. So I think the best move is to switch into this Draven Caitlyn deck, which I think beats more things than Sion, and does a lot better into its bad matchups. It just only loses to Sion. So I'll just ban Sion if I see it, and I'll run Sivir Akshan Demacia, Draven Caitlyn, and Nami Zoe, which ended up being one of the top lineups in EU as well.
Yeah. Well, we the morning of, we also had the data where like I did scour through the Asia, like the people that did good, and in Europe, and Sion in general did not show up. It was played, and even the fight night the day before, I looked at all the data, and there was just not much Sion, and so it wasn't that high of a concern anymore. Like, I still think the deck was very good, and I still think like a couple people brought it, but while a week before we expected like 40% Sion, now I was more expecting 15% Sion.
Yeah, 15 is about what I would say, and I was willing to take that risk.
Sion stocks tanked.
Yeah,
Sion stocks tanked a little bit.
Oh, we got Jason
got
Floron
to
showing up.
The loot version, that's why.
There were even a couple of people outside this group who are also testing buddies of mine that I told, man, you gotta get on Aloof Travelers, and people did not listen to me.
It was so good.
It was very, very good. Yeah, very good. So yeah, that's where I ended up, was the Draven Caitlyn, Nami Zoe, and Demacia Sivir. Obviously, it worked very well. I felt like my lineup was very favored going into just about everything. The only problem was when people brought Zoe, Nami, and Sion. That was a struggle. But it was, like Jordan. Yeah, and I think bringing PNZ Noxus and Zoe Nami was just the play.
And that's why round 1 I would have farmed you.
Yeah.
My dad could beat up your dad. I mean...
yeah, so yeah, I ended up liking my lineup a lot. I don't love playing Demacia Sivir, but like the deck is so powerful, even still.
It's just good.
It's just very good.
You can't go wrong. It's just a good deck. It's just good cards. Not that good cards anymore, but
yeah, slightly less good now. Slightly less good.
You saw the Rune Runner for like a better thing. And
I preferred Screeching Dragon. I know the Bruiser was pretty popular in EU, but I just preferred Screeching Dragon. I just wanted to beat Poppy decks, and I like Screeching Dragon's so good there.
And small shout out, because the morning of, you just basically ripped Alan's ZQ version of and he was like, this shit.
I just stole it. Yeah,
fire.
I was like, this is so sick. He played Sump Fumes, and I was like, how do you ever activate this? And like, you guys were like, you just need to play 1 card or whatever. Like, you draw a card that counts, and I was like, what? Get me on this. So I just stole his version.
Morning of just.
Yeah, I was like already on the deck, but I changed like 6 cards or something insane, like a lot. Like 30 minutes before the tournament started. I'd never played with Sump Fumes or like Archivist really at all. And I was just like, we're running it.
Yeah, this was good enough.
It was good.
It worked for Alan, worked for me.
So we were all playing, and we were all pretty close to the same lineup at the end of the day.
Yeah,
right?
very similar.
Like there were some differentiations, but we tested a whole lot, so we were all pretty close to the same thing. I wanna ask Mr. Jason Florent, who was doing like doing a watch party and doing some casting of his own at the same time J Dosa and Boulevard were doing it. What crazy stuff did you see on the day? What came out as looking like more powerful than you might have thought it would have been?
I don't think there were any like that like really big of surprises, because like most of I was covering like the team, so I was watching like Bay, Henneke, who else was streaming? None of you guys. So I was like watching those 2 mostly, and because Bay played all day, I mostly watched his games. I did see that someone qualified with Triple Tree though. What's up
Real
with
T? What the fuck? Like if you're out there, bud,
that troll.
I don't know. If Real
I
T,
love it.
If you're out there, tell us what happened, man. Did you get a hold of Glop's death note? Oh, I gotta know.
Do you want to go ahead and explain the tiles behind your lineup, Jordan? I'll piggyback off of that because I pretty much brought the same thing except one deck.
Yeah, sure. At the end of the day, like I actually tried out a couple different Sivir decks. I was even messing around with Sivir Ionia at one point, just because I felt like people would not be ready for the spell shields, and you might just be able to cheese a few wins.
Mm-hmm.
But it felt like there were 3 decks that were just kind of head and shoulders power level above everything else. And given the way that I was able to build them, all of their bad matchups weren't that bad. Like with just a few extra techs, they were just able to even find the bad matchups. And one of those was obviously Zoe Nami, right? Because that deck is just fucking ridiculous. Yes. You're playing a 6-card deck, but I think I had a game in the tournament where I literally didn't draw any of those 6 cards until turn 7 and then won.
Yeah.
So you're playing a 6-card deck, but it's a really good 6-card deck.
Yeah, when you draw one of those 6 cards, you're
good.
Yeah, I think in one of my rounds, I like stalled against a Poppy rally deck for like till like turn 9 by flipping a Zoe and like just dinking around with like these elusive lifesteal double troubles and stuff, like just trying to survive. And then I played Nami and I was like, oh, I win.
Oh, oops, I win.
Oh, darn.
So I'm definitely going to bring that. And it's not usually my kind of deck, because I don't like I'm relying on this one centerpiece that I have to care about or I'm going to die. Yeah. That's not my style, but it was too good. I had to. And then the other 2, I really liked the power level on Scion, and I thought with Aloof Travelers, it fixes most of the bad matchups, just because you discard their Bandle Tree, you discard their Mini-Morph.
Yeah.
Like, whatever they're trying to do to stop you is not going to go well, and you just have such a huge burn suite. It's really hard to deal with.
Yeah, you're running the full 6 burn spells.
Oh yeah, like you get to 5 life, and the thing is, it's 6 burn spells. The deck has like 12 draw spells, so you get to 5 life against me, you're usually dead.
You're just dead. Yeah, I've been burned out from like 10 all the time.
It's ridiculous. And then for the last one, I thought that I was going to end up playing Sivir there. I was looking at Sivir for a while, and I just kept coming back to the ridiculous power of the Poppy deck. Mm-hmm. And I did modify the deck a little bit as I went along. I think it got streamlined a little. But
that's the deck that was the most controversial amongst our group.
Yes. Oh, yeah. We agreed on pretty much everything but the Poppy decks.
On your Poppy deck, like we made you change Yordle in Harms, and then you swapped back, and then you changed color.
Then we're like, get Concologist out of this deck. Where's Yordle Smith?
Like, get the fuck out. We're all bullying you.
And and then I would be playing the Poppy decks, and I'd be like, how are you guys winning? Like, I can't win with anything. Yeah, we were all over the place on Poppy.
But there was a lot of back and forth on that one, more than any of the rest of them. And I think the place it finally settled was pretty solid.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, that deck feels like it can beat almost anything. And that's partly because of the power of just like Poppy plus Rally. Like they either answer your Poppy or they die, right? And then the other Lulu can do some good work, but the other like
it's all about
the
Mayor and the Telescope, right? Like the
Mayor and Telescope, like you get these value engines, and you sometimes just like accidentally get epics to win the game. I killed Henneke with a Judgment during one of our testing sessions.
I had to play around Judgment in one of my matches on camera, and I extended the game like 2 turns with these big ass elusive units, and I was like, I'm sorry, man, I just gotta play around Judgment. So I'm like doing my attack, and he's like so dead, but I'm like, he could have Judgment. What if he has Sharp Sight Judgment?
And also at that point, your opponent already used both his Telescopes card, but I think you just missed one of them.
Oh, I probably missed it. Yeah. Yep.
Just to answer a chat question or two. No, this is not usually how I do lineups. Usually, I am the guy who plays the super polarized lineups, but I need a more stable meta to be able to pull that kind of game. And in an unstable meta like this, I thought my best shot was just to play the best decks.
That's usually my strategy. Is play the 3 best decks and tech them for strategy as well. Yeah.
And if you're done, I want to piggyback off of your lineup because
I want to say one more thing, and then I'll jump to you real quick. The last thing, and this was like the most controversial card in any of the decks I played. Yordles in Arms is really good. Fuck y'all for doubting me.
I was on the play 2 boat. Like, yeah, I was fine with 2. I was not happy with 3 Yordle in Arms.
You got me back down to 2. When by the time we were into the tournament, I was down to 2.
Good enough with me. I think this card's okay. It's fine. And I basically did the same thing. Well, if I got to play that is, I basically did the same thing as you, where I went with Nami Scion, and happy with the Scion because after having played it all week, and we're like, oh, this is a good matchup into Scion, or this is a good matchup into Scion, and you just keeping bullying us, and it's like, yeah, just aloof your Minimorph, kill you, and we're like, oh yeah, 3 beats Scion, and then I think
And less, yeah.
yeah, and you and Henneke played like 8 games, and it was like 7-1 for Scion or something.
The whirling
So-
deaths were also so good.
And the whirling deaths were good, the
So
loops were good. So I was on the Scion boat, we got you on the Nami boat, and for my third deck, I decided to go against, I'm in the same boat as Majin, where I'm not as good as I think, like, as I could be into like those rally decks, so Poppy I didn't feel as comfortable. And instead of swapping last minute to Cedar Demacia, I just decided that instead of bringing, because the night before, yeah, I remember, the night before, what we did was like, our third deck, we want to be good into the Poppy mirrors, is what we did.
Yeah.
So we're like, okay, what's the best Poppy mirror version? Is it Poppy Ionia? Is it Poppy Bendel City? And what I just decided to bring with that same philosophy is my third deck, I just want to be good against Poppy. So I brought S Karma, or I would have bought S Karma. And the last tech that I added, because I talked to, I think it was Psycho, the guy's name that played S Karma in Europe and finished X2. He was very close to making it. And he had 2 Aftershock. So, and he's like, yeah, I really like playing into Bendel Tree with this. Like, this is amazing. Like, that's exactly what I wanted from my lineup. So he had an S Karma with happy to play into Bendel Tree.
That's pretty solid.
Just destroyed fucking tree. And because of the popularity of S Draven, or like rather Caitlyn Draven in Europe, like I feel like I know that matchup inside and out with S Karma because I've played that so much, and I feel very confident beating that type of deck with S Karma. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna be happy into Scion, I'm gonna be happy into Poppy, and I'm gonna be happy into like the Kate Draven that now we expect a lot of because it did very good into Europe meta. Yeah. So we were like 80 of the same cards, and I just swapped that last deck, but I just wanted a deck that's it would have been a Poppy that's good into Poppy. I just chose another deck that's just good into Poppy, and I'm banning Nami anyway. Fuck that deck. So,
I mean, there was no universe in which I'm ever getting on as Karma. I have like negative hours playing that deck.
No,
that's not one you should just pick up. No,
yeah, that's
I don't trust myself to play that deck.
I was very happy into putting into the lineup, but like I'm not recommending that deck if you don't have a lot of hours on it.
Mm-hmm.
So what do y'all think we're looking at going forward? Because we have 2 weeks to prep now, and there's even some new decks that are continuing to be made. Like I'm not even sure the top 3 that we were looking at are even going to be the top 3 after the next 2 weeks. Anybody been hanging out on ladder?
I played a bunch today. Mostly just played against Tree, Zoe, Nami. I mean, I recorded a couple videos. Played against Tree, Zoe, Nami, even Zion. I was like, oh wow. Woo. But yeah, I mean, there are some new stuff popping up. I think the Teemo Caitlyn decks are really fun. I don't know how great they are. Like, we wanted to play that for like a second. We saw this and we were like, hell yeah. And then we played like 3 games and we went, nah, never mind. We moved on. But yeah, there's like a lot of, really cool stuff coming out. And I hope it changes a bit because I really would rather just not go. I mean, I think MTuck nailed it in chat right now. He's saying Zoe Nami's would still be number 1, and I totally agree. Like, I think it's just head and shoulders above everything else right now.
I think what I'd like to do this week, or like in the next 2 weeks, is figure out exactly where we stand on Bendel Tree.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just the plan in general. Sure, the numbers are a little bit skewed. It is still the most popular deck route into the top 16, mainly because a guy is playing 3 of them, but it's still like pretty high. So, like, and there's still so many versions. And my main concern throughout the past week, just before going into Worlds, was I like Bendel Tree, but I don't think that we're gonna be able to find an optimal list. I think it's just still too early. There's still too many ways to build a deck, and that was my main concern about it. And then Push P came with like a Noxious list that was pretty good.
It was really good. Yeah, the House Spider one.
Still, I still think that there are so many ways to build a deck that 2 weeks from now it might not even look like what it looks now, and that is something that I think we should work on a little bit going into Worlds, like where we stand on Bendel Tree. Just maybe the rank 3 deck we're comfortable playing into Bendel Tree, or we just ignore it whatsoever. But That is the question mark that I would have right now if I was playing in the top 16.
Mm-hmm.
I'll also put out that I don't think Nami's gonna be unbeatable. I've already found both some brews and some not so brews that are looking pretty solid into that. So
yeah, I would agree with not unbeatable, but I think it's still gonna be top dog and by a pretty decent margin.
When you think you find a deck that beats Nami, hit me up.
It's like 45-55 is how I feel. Like this deck crushes Nami. It's like maybe it beats it sometimes. Like that's kind of how it feels. It's like, yeah, but can you beat Nami on 4? I doubt it, right? Like that's.
I have beaten Nami on 4 twice today.
Oh, out of how many times?
I've only played against Nami 4 times. So.
Okay. All right.
I'm just saying that there's some brewing yet to do, and maybe Kever's gonna bully the shit out of me again, and I'll go back to Nami.
That is what happened. Jordan tried to not play Zoe Nami so hard, and we forced him to run into our Zoe Namis until he decided to play it. We're like, nope, play more. Run another one. We'll show you how good this deck is. Just find triple Stony Suppressors. Stony Suppressor's like not even that good. It's like good, right? But like if you don't find it, I'm just gonna beat you, and that's what I mean. Like. Countering Nami, if you have to go out of your way of like good natural like good stuff in a vacuum to counter Zoe Nami, it's not worth it. I just don't think it's better just ban it, right? Like
I've seen some people running Whimsy in their Ionia decks.
Whimsy's such a fun card.
All right, that might be a little too far.
I like Whimsy.
When you need a hush, you need a hush.
Yeah.
Like,
but that's like I feel like that's been something that like we've talked about a lot in the past in like seasons past and stuff. Like why bother countering the best deck, right? Like why show up with a triple line a lineup that's got 3x decks that you think beat Sivir, Akshan, Demacia when you can just ban it and play something that won't just like kill you if you don't stumble, or kill you if you stumble.
We've been there with TFIs.
We've been there with TFIs, yeah. I mean, you try to build a lineup that counters TFIs, and then they just flip Twisted Fate on turn 4 and you lose the game. And you're like, damn, this sucks. Like, I could have just banned this deck. Why am I not playing this? So
if we're talking about Nami counters, I wanna ask my my main lurk man, Jay Sensational here. What's the deal on that one?
I don't know. I think that to a lot of people, they say lurk is favored into it, and I definitely been on both sides of the coin a little bit. I think the most interesting part about lurk into Nami Zoe is that Spell Thief is often just a dead card. Sometimes lurk deck just doesn't play any spells, or sometimes the lurk deck plays Call the Pack, and you can't play Call the Pack.
How many times did I steal your Call of the Pack to testing?
Yeah, but I think that lurk falls in the same boat of any deck that tries to aim to beat Nami, in the sense that if you curve out early with like 3/1 drops, you get lucky with some like predicts or whatever, or like lurks, then obviously it feels pretty good. But Nami has its own tools to beat it too, right? It has the hushes, it has units
Stuns.
that you can't interact with, it has stuns, and the more I play it, like it's at least even, I would say. So I'm not like super happy about it. And then of course lurk gets destroyed by some other things that I'm not super happy about, such as the overprevalence of Draven Caitlyn and Sivir Demacia. So I'm not very happy with it. I've always had trouble building lineups surrounding lurk, especially with last season. I just didn't really find anything to do with it. I got beaten by aggro, and then I got beaten by decks that were like too slow. So lurk's always in a weird, interesting spot. But I've heard people doing well with on ladder, so I don't know if any of you guys would ever play lurk. It seems kind of out of anything I've seen you guys do.
Play style, I feel like. For
somehow
most
I played a lot of lurk.
Did you really? That shocks me.
Actually, it was. I was hiding, but I was hiding playing lurk on ladder, but I did play like maybe 50 games last season. That is, but still. Well, I was surprised still. It was a fair amount of lurk. I'm not sure any of them made it to the top 16, but like going into the last 2 rounds, there was at least 2 other lineups that had lurks in it, so it still did okay. So,
yeah, lurk showing up is definitely already a surprise for me.
I do think that if you have a lurk lineup, you're trying not to ban Nami. Like, sure, you might just lose to the nut draws, but you're just like, like I should be trying to beat you a little bit, so you have something like a Poppy rally deck and
Yeah.
then Lurk and then something else.
I mean,
and you
can
just bring,
Lurk
like,
ever beat like the PNZ Noxus deck? Like ever? That's so tough.
It's
that's
very
your
hard.
that's your ban.
Mhm.
Like,
So you
Yeah.
just can't. You just
Like, you're
can't
playing Poppy.
afford it. Yeah.
No, if you're bringing Lurk, you're treating Lurk like another rally deck, right? I'm bringing like Poppy Rally, Misfortune with Stony Suppressor, and Lurk, and I'm just gonna
Maybe
ban
not this
whatever
one,
PNZ
yes.
Noxus shit you bring.
Yep.
Like if you're gonna do that, you go all in on it.
I totally agree with that.
we touch on it a little bit, Jason Florent, if you wanna chime in. But we talked about your Reddit post and how like most of us agrees on it. But like maybe you have some thoughts that you wanna air out.
Yeah, I mean, what else is there to say at this point? You know, I feel like we've aired it all out. You wrote your post about what happened to you. I wrote about like the rest of it, which most of us like lived through or like saw happening in real time. All the competitive players, you know, saw like the late announcements and everything. And now it's just kind of like balls in their court, you know, just like waiting to see what they do with it. I'm really hoping that this is like a catalyst for some good change. Because organized play has kind of just been like they hit seasonals off, and then like okay, like it got better when they like ramped it up to 9 rounds along the time they announced worlds and how you qualify. I thought all of that was done really well.
This
And
is
then
what
after
pulled us
that-
into the game, right?
Mhm.
Like that's why I'm playing right now. Is that exact announcement? I think that's why Imagine is playing right now.
Yeah, I mean,
Yep.
if it wasn't for their, I can remember the headline of the article. It was like Path to Pro seasonals for Legends of Runeterra, and if it wasn't for that, I would not have played this game.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with like Flesh and Blood. Like Flesh and Blood announced their I read Flesh and Blood's entire organized play article, and I didn't even know what game it was for.
Sam,
I had
Actually,
to
Sam.
ask.
it's like, what is this?
It's like this is
So
really
what's up
well.
with
This
this
is
game?
really well done. What game is this? I kind of want to check this out. Right?
It's from
Like,
New Zealand.
this is really important to our like competitive player base. You know, maybe a lot of like more casual players are like, yeah, whatever, you didn't get broadcasted on your tournament, wine, right? But like, this is important. And it made it feel like we were showing up to the biggest tournament of the game so far, and that it didn't matter. And that was brutal. We worked so hard to be here, and you know, it's some third-party site with a TO who doesn't even know what the game is, and
There's no riders to be found.
yeah, we couldn't get any help from riders. It was really brutal.
That was crazy. And yeah, like you said, I think the ball is just in their court. So we'll see. Like, you liked your tweet, you liked my tweet, he answered me, and we'll see. Cynic in me
At this point, kind of the hope is that it's just to do better next time.
Yeah, I do not expect to see any like official response. What I hope to see is just doing better next time. Also,
to be fair,
go ahead.
You can go first.
I was just going to say. Oh, no, you go first because mine's a little different.
Okay. Also, for spark of hope for people who are feeling a little down about this, they've listened to us before. Like if y'all remember the first fucking seasonals that was single a limb, they've listened to us before.
First two.
So.
First two were single one. Yeah. So my thing was I forgot. Okay, I remember now. Also, I would really like to know what's going on with this next season. Like, do I have to try it ranked again? Does it matter? What's going on with this next seasonal? Is there another Worlds? Should I try hard? Like, we don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You think I'm asking too much if I ask them to give me the card back anyway? I want that one. I want that one competitor card back.
Do we all? Did everyone who participated in the round of 64, get the card back?
That's what the Rioter said in the Discord. But then, does that has any weight on it? I don't
think I have the card back.
Yeah.
I got the free one in the store, but didn't everybody get that one?
No, nobody got it yet. But the Rioter in the Discord said that everyone playing last weekend gets to have the World Competitor card back, which you can check right now in the game. If you check, I'm not sure if it's Legacy or like World 1, but you can see the card back right now in the game. And yeah, I want that card back. I should have it.
Because there's the free bundle one in the store, right? That's different.
Yeah, no, it's World Cup. There's like LOR on the card back.
Oh, that's cool.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
World Competitor 2021 reward.
Exactly this one, yeah.
I think I have that one. It says reward, so maybe I don't have it.
You don't have it yet, but you see it.
But I'm gonna get it. Okay, sure.
And you're supposed to get it if a Riot Worlds in the official Discord is to be trusted.
Okay, cool.
So on one hand, I would also definitely love to hear more about, next season, next setup for Worlds, all of this craziness. Do I need to play ladder? Because y'all know me, I don't really like ladder. I'd rather just test with my boys. But one of the things that has very much been a consistent is that all of the announcements happen during big events. So as much as I would like to hear about it earlier,
we're gonna hear it in 2
like,
weeks. Yeah,
we're gonna hear about it in 2 weeks. That's when we're gonna know.
Hopefully.
I would like a roadmap.
I'd say cross your fingers. Like, what are you talking about? You think we're actually going to get stuff for the next season at Worlds? They're barely got Worlds going. Like, what do you even mean at this point? We're playing the season right now. The time to give us all this info is not at Worlds.
That's true.
Like a month into the season.
True.
They don't know. They gotta get on it.
But I do think that they dropped the ball super hard on qualifiers, right? We can all agree. But top 16, I think is going to be a big deal for them. And we'll see. And I hope it is. And I think it is. But yeah, I would like a roadmap, a competitive roadmap for at least the next 6 months or something.
Like we've talked in past podcasts, something to give us direction, and even more now that we've experienced last weekend, just direction, man. Just give me something. The ball is in their court. We'll see what happens.
You're right. Top 16 is going to be lit. You know who's casting? You know who's putting it on? You know where it'll be? Oh yeah.
Well, the official Legends of Runeterra Twitch.
Okay, we got one.
And Ryan.
We know where it'll be.
But I don't know who's casting. So
probably Freak and other people swim.
Probably. I would imagine Freak and swim.
Toss a coin.
Get Captain Flowers in here.
He's
like, I don't know what any of these cards do. He's trying to do a play-by-play, but it's way too slow. He's like, he drew a card. He appears to be thinking. Dragging a card up.
Play this. Oh
no, he's dragging it back. Reorganizing attackers. They did just announce. They did just. Plus, if you point this out, they did just release a little teaser trailer video for top 16, where it's just World's competitors, top 16, and that's pretty much the whole video.
Better than nothing.
It's better than nothing.
We'll take what we get at this point.
Yeah.
They also did send the email out earlier today, starting to do things, and they were talking about doing rehearsals.
Yeah,
so
rehearsals.
I don't know what the fuck that's about.
We have to send in all of our computer specs and everything.
They're taking it somewhat seriously.
They're taking it pretty seriously. Yeah, they're like, "What's your upload and download speed?" All that stuff.
Blood type.
Cool.
Yeah,
but that's exactly what I want to hear. They dropped the ball for 256 players, but they need not to drop the ball for top 16.
It's very important.
Doing things like that, yeah, and doing player interview and star building and think if they're on that, it's gonna be a good one to watch.
Yep. I mean, outside of the competitive group, the really competitive group, the people who play, how many people do you think know the names of the top competitors who are not streamers? None.
Only super serious players will know their name, and this should change in the coming 2 weeks. They should have a player sheet for everybody's on their Twitter and things like that. And I fully expect something like that. I think it is their best time to do it is now. And nobody who knows outside of Asia player who's Ping who is, outside of a Hearthstone player. But I know who he is. I know that guy's super good. He's been crushing tournaments for the past year. He's been topping all of them, and he crushed expectedly. He crushed the Asia SEA one too. So get his name out there, right?
Yeah, Jason and I talk about this a lot, but Star City Games for Magic did a circuit, and they were very good at building their players up to be personalities. At people's matches, they would have a card for them where it was this is how old I am, this is where I'm from, here's some interesting facts about me, and then the cams for the actual matches. This is not something that you ever saw in Magic the Gathering. They had the cam on the table, and then they had face cams for the players. Yeah, this is not an online game. This is an IRL game. And that was such a big deal for no reason, right? I was just oh damn, I can't believe I've been missing this whole time and never thought about it. It's so nice to see people's reaction and everything and put a face to the name and stuff. And I'd like to see stuff like that. I don't want a big invitational tournament just to be the top 8 streamers at the time or whatever, right? maybe that would eventually benefit me, but like that's not what I want. I want to showcase like the best, right? I want people to come out to see the best players, not just like people who get a lot of views and stuff.
Yeah.
They'll probably never change that, right? Like that's hard to get away from. That's why.
And it's still like we won't have professional players of this game for still a long time. It's a long shot coming. You need to be into content creation to like make a living out of it, and that's fine. And that's fine. But like once we'll have direction for next week, next world, we'll get to judge it a little bit more, I guess.
Like outside of like winning worlds, right? Henneke and I have probably had like the most spiky seasonal performance.
Oh.
If I played 5 seasons in a row, I don't think I could put up the same seasonal performance, right? Of like 4 out of 5 top 32s and a win. Like there's
let's come back to that in a year.
We'll find out. We'll find out next year. But like the variance is pretty insane for that. Like I don't think I could repeat that. And Henneke and I have not made anywhere near enough to live on. And that's not the point of seasonals, right? I'm not saying like, right, pay me more money. But I would like to get my seasonal money at some point. Pay me the money at all. But like but it's just not feasible. Fresh Lobster had a fantastic tweet about this where he's like, hey, I really want to be a pro player in Runeterra, but like you just physically can't do that. And I feel like we know this, right? But I feel like the normal player base like doesn't because they wouldn't have any reason to know. So I try to talk about it a lot on like Twitch and stuff. I'm like, here's the breakdown. Like here's what you could expect. If you want to like really move into like being a pro player, it has to be through content or some other way of monetizing yourself. I plan on doing a really big YouTube video about this in the coming months. Yeah, working a day job. Probably that. Probably don't quit your day job.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it'll be cool. I think I still got some hope. They fucked up a bunch of stuff, but Riot has also shown that when they fuck up, they're willing to do better. So I still got. Maybe I'm on the hopium, but I still got hope.
Nah, I think. I mean, this
they've
is
earned
like
that. I think.
Screw Riot. They ruin everything they touch. This is really disappointing me, guys. I would really like to see this done.
I am probably the guy that got the most screwed this weekend.
Yeah, I'd agree.
I think by far, and I still have hope, and I still think Riot is trying to do the right things, and I still think that I'm hopeful for the future. Like that's the reason I'm in this game is because the devs are, compared to other games, at least compared to other card games, like the devs are responding. They are super active in the community, and when they fuck up, they usually own up to it and they usually fixed it. And the first 2 seasonal, now it's 9 rounds, it's better. Like the nerfs, we didn't really touch on it that much, but the midweek nerfs
was so important.
Yeah, we're so important. We're crazy, but it was going to be a mistake to go into this tournament with the old Sivir Demacia without any nerfs. Like I think this deck should have been nerfed in the first place, and they fixed that mistake. Maybe a little bit too late, you could argue that, but it was still a mistake that they fixed, and I'm still hopeful that Riot's going to fix the mistakes that happened this weekend. We'll see.
And those kind of things like, hey, yeah, no, you were right, we should have nerfed this, are bad. That's really good, right? Like, yeah, like you said, it was, the timing was rough for some of us competitors. Really kind of flipped the table on us, but I was happy to see it happen. It was just nice to get the confirmation that like, hey, we didn't think it was as bad as it was. Our bad. Here's the fix. And that was nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they've definitely earned a lot of like goodwill. I will say that for them for sure. So many of the things are like, yo, this isn't right. Like they either fix immediately or they like fix eventually. And that's like, it all comes down to like communication. That's been like the biggest issue. I don't know if you guys went over that, but like that was the whole thing, right? Like just a lack of proper communication the whole way through. And even now, that's still kind of like the issue. That's like, hey, what's happening with organized play? Big question mark. Don't know. And so that's the thing. We've always felt heard on that other side when it comes to the cards and the meta and things being OP, things that need to be changed. And this is like different. There's no one for us even to like really talk to. There's no like, oh, hey, it's the organized play guy. Let's go ping them and talk to them. Like I've been trying to get someone from organized play on our podcast since we first before we got into the LPP.
And you're in the LPP, so you should be
like a direct line. Yeah, about as close
you
as
should. Of all people, you guys should be like the one that have a line to the guy, whoever he is.
Yeah. So there's no guy.
There's
That's
no
the
guy.
thing.
Yeah. We're like, can we get like the
There's
head
no
of
one.
organized play? And they're like, well, there isn't one. We're like, well, can you make one? And then send them over here, please.
I can be the what? Question mark.
Yeah, hire cover. But then you can't play in tournaments.
I know that's.
And then they
problem.
can't kick you out at the last second.
I mean, real talk. If Riot ever listens to us, if Riot's around watching our humble little talk show here, just hire Croc. Come on, man.
Yeah, Croc does a really good job.
It's a good idea.
Yeah.
You'll crush it.
All right. Anything else we want to cover really quickly before we wrap up here?
Think we good?
I'm pretty much good.
Yeah, like I think like we need to figure out our homework for the next 2 weeks. So
Oh yeah.
we need to do it like we did the last time. Like you get on this deck and you get on this deck and you like. No, but one last time, like there was 256 player. Like 5 of us qualified, and then 3 of us got to play actually, and then 2 of us made the top 16, which was only top 6 in the Americas. Like fucking hell of a job,
Insane.
guys.
Yeah, insane.
We did pretty okay.
I have played on a few teams, I feel like, and have never had it, I feel like, run so well. Not like run like, we did really good in this tournament, but I mean like the testing process was very good. Everyone was contributing a bunch. Like it was so nice to have everybody on board. Yeah, so super happy to be on team with all you guys.
A big shout out specifically to Jay Sensational for convincing me not to play Zoe Vi. Sorry, buddy.
Yeah.
What a guy.
Yeah,
What a
first
guy.
couple games, like we all specced him. It was like, yeah, your deck sounds cool. Off it. Like just
And then I'm like 360 windmill dunking on people with Zoe Nami, and I'm like, I don't know, guys, this seems pretty good. I did want to play Zoe Vi really bad. So yeah, I'm excited.
Tell
for
you
top
when he
16.
lost to Zoe Vi on Zoe Nami.
Yeah, we don't talk about that part. Zoe Vi is one of the better decks against Zoe Nami, I think. Does that make it like
Funny.
good? No, but like, yeah. So I will be gone pretty much this weekend. I'm going to be in Disneyland with my family, and then on Monday night I'm going to be coming back ready to hit it hard, put in those hours again. I'm really excited about it.
And if we're talking about, what's the new spice we're testing, I may have been on Thresh Sol again all night.
Oh
so,
no!
your
Oh
boy is
no!
back.
Triple target is back.
Can we give you a week to have your fun? Come back to us.
Exactly.
Yeah, come back to us, and we'll really get to work.
And then we'll get to work dismantling it, or you convincing us to playing it.
Oh, that would
was
take some
Poppy,
serious
right? That was
convincing.
what happened with Poppy. We spent the whole time with you guys trying to bully me, and I eventually convinced someone.
Yeah. Or that's what happened to Sion. Like you convinced me playing Sion. I'd like to think we convinced you playing Nami. So like
It works out.
Yeah.
Yep, win-win. All right, guys.
All right,
I think
peace,
that's good.
Cal.
I'm gonna end the stream here. I'm gonna send everybody over to Nick Makes Plays, the homie. You know him.
Have a good night.
Yellow.
people.
Peace out, guys.
Yeah. Thanks for coming
Bye,
by,
guys.
everybody. In 4 seconds. 3, 2.
Dick makes
One.
plays.
See you guys next time.